I think the fate of the executive order is that it's probably going to go away, that it'll be replaced by another executive order that addresses some of the problems with the current order and allows them to implement it without being stopped in court, or at least try. I definitely think they're going to stay with this effort to stop people from certain Muslim countries coming into the U.S. How that plays out, we'll see, but the logical next step would be another executive order, which I'm told is being drafted at the moment and reviewed in pieces of it being reviewed in various agencies, and then try to implement that and hope that that won't be challenged in court, though the odds are it will be. Across the Muslim world, it's going to be seen for what it probably is, and that is just semantics, a technical change to implement what they set out to do anyway. But the important thing to remember too is that you can't generalize about how Muslim governments view this, because some Arab governments are certainly supportive of this, others are not. I think any change of the CVE program is going to be problematic. I think at this point, the view of the U.S. government, of the Trump administration, is that they are opposed to Muslims. And however they change the CVE program, it's not likely to resonate in a positive way with Muslims around the world or in the U.S. And certainly if they focus even more on stopping, quote, radical Muslim terrorism, that's just going to drive that message home even further. From a security standpoint, I think any renaming of the CVE program to focus more on Muslims only makes things worse, and that inevitably leads to a pushback and further radicalization. The other thing that's happening with that program is that Muslim organizations in the U.S. that had applied for major grants to run CVE programs, to run what they call early intervention programs, to identify youth, et cetera, who might be going bad, well, they're giving the money back because they don't want to be seen as representing the Trump administration and imposing any anti-Muslim actions that the Trump administration wants. I think American Muslim organizations are very aware of how this election has shaped perceptions of them. And some of them say that they are at fault, that they didn't do enough after 9/11 to educate Americans about American Muslims. And so I think you're going to see some organizations doing more of that, more outreach, more education efforts. But it is challenging. The polls show that, there was a Shibli Talhami poll that showed that support or positive feelings toward Muslims are at all-time highs among Democrats and independents, but have not moved among Republicans. The idea of designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization will be disastrous if implemented, disastrous for U.S. foreign policy, disastrous for civil rights in the U.S. First of all, it's based on a flawed notion. The Brotherhood is not a single monolithic organization. You have branches of the Brotherhood that carry out acts of terrorism. You have branches of the Brotherhood that are part of governments. And if you shut down the ability of diplomats to deal with the Brotherhood, it means that there's very few, quote, moderates left in the Muslim world that they can talk to. And here at home, it creates a 6 degrees of separation game where pick any Muslim and look hard enough and you find a connection to terrorism if you consider the Brotherhood a terrorist group, because a large percentage of American Muslim organizations are somehow associated with, in terms of a member of the Brotherhood founded them 30 years ago, someone who knew a member of the Brotherhood, they have people on their board who have relations with somebody from the Brotherhood. So it really creates a Kevin Bacon style Muslim 6 degrees of separation.